A good woman is hard to find, right? Funny. Because if you ask any woman if she's a good woman, she'll say yes. So somebody's lying. Somebody's not telling the truth. Either the men can't recognize a good woman if she slapped them in the face, or a whole lot of women are lying to themselves about who they really are. Now, let's be real. A good woman is not about being cute. It's not about having your own money. It's not about not cheating. That's basic. That's standard. A good woman brings peace, not drama. She respects her man in public and in private. She can take accountability without turning it into a 3 hour argument. She knows how to disagree without the disrespect. She pours into her man without keeping score. But here's the problem: most people judge themselves by their intentions, while everybody else judges them based on their actions.
I think that's a really powerful quote right there, right? When you just look at yourself by what you feel, what you think, and that becomes why you're a good woman, rather than your actions and your history of actions behind that. And it becomes very easy for society just to say there's so many good women, there's not enough good men. And I even have another video where I just said I came across another creator saying the same thing. Women get judged lightly and get to rate themselves highly, and they rate each other highly, versus men don't have that same, you know, grace. Men have to be proven to be good men, and even then it's always treated with this level of skepticism. So if we have this inability to really give each other grace, to see each other in a positive light, men often have hard times understanding the dichotomy when you say you don't need a man or you don't want a man, and then then you get upset when there isn't a man around. Men don't really get that. If you spend so much time dogging us, then when we say, all right, cool, we'll leave you be, why is there now this sort of like pushback against that? So before we let her continue and dive deeper into this one, we'll hit that like button, share the video, comment, subscribe, definitely subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. Still trying to do two a day. You know how that goes. Try to keep the streak alive. Yes, Sicky series still continues.
So a woman might think she's a good woman because she means well, but if her actions are prideful, selfish, and defensive, guess what? That's not good. Good women aren't rare because they don't exist. They're rare because most women stop doing the work to become one, but they still claim the title anyway.
Yeah, it's easy. When you're given the accolades by default, there's you know if you look at it as like an organism and it responds to stimuli, if you're already telling and it's great, there's no need for any change. There's no need for any extra work or anything else that needs to be done. It's already there. The title is given. It's don't have to earn it. There's no reason for change. So and I don't think this is a problem that men can really jump in and solve. Like some problems that you understand are inherently gender specific, right? This gender has to get together and sort of raise the standard, raise the bar, and decide this what matters, this what doesn't matter. This isn't something that men can do. Men can shout to mountaintops as much as they want, saying, "Hey, just because you're this doesn't mean you're a good woman." Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We've had that try. We've tried that level of conversation before, and it's gotten us absolutely nowhere. Where men saying, "No, these are the things that we say we want in a woman." Right? Again, Kevin Samuels was saying that popularized that idea of fit, feminine, friendly, and the amount of pushback he got against that, right, was insane. This is a man expressing, "Hey, this is kind of what men want. This is kind of what men prefer," and the pushback against that was like, "No." You see it today in so many creators telling you, in these panel shows where a man is saying his point of view, what men want, what's important to men, and one of the first reactions or responses is, "No, you're wrong. A real man would want this. A real man does this, this, and that." When you actually have men around you to tell you what it is and what it is not. So until we start valuing men and truly for what they say and believing what they say, you know, this will never be an equitable sort of conversation.
A good woman is hard to find, right? Funny. Because if you ask any woman if she's a good woman, she'll say yes. So somebody's lying. Somebody's not telling the truth.
Just to be fair and honest, not everyone can be good, right? And especially with the advent of social media and the telephones right in front of your face and the stuff that we record, we put out there to say things, even when we were trying to be satirical, some of the stuff we're saying is just kind of revealing our character, where we are with things, how we feel about things, who we really are. And a lot of us are, I like to say we're just human, right? Like men aren't inherently bad. They're human. Women aren't inherently good. They're human. You have the same motivation sometimes, or you're just driven by pleasure, driven by desire. But when you get to hide behind someone saying, "No, you're good," or excusing the poor reasonings, the poor choices you made, "No, you're good," and it was because something else, something else, something else. This isn't just to be fair. Men see it, men hear it, and largely, I think that's why you have this, dissatisfaction or this dissonance between men and women today, where men are just saying, there's no path. I want to say path of victory, but there's no path to peace, right? We don't want to get to a point where we stop thinking that peace is something that cannot be attained with the other gender. We simply think, peace is the absence of conflict. That's not really it, right? But then we shouldn't be looking at the other gender as purely something that's, going to bring about conflict. We want to see how the highest heights we can raise, we can get together. But that's going to take realism. That's going to take real understanding of saying, right, this is what makes me a great woman. And this is why there's so few of them. When we get back to putting things in a structural sort of ideal that, yes, the choices that you make in life can sort of make you less worthy of being a great woman. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say when you let it sit in just a little bit. If you've been to prison, if you've committed fraud, if you murdered or any of these things, if you've had six baby daddies, right? These things kind of make it harder for men to see and say, this is what makes you great. We often want to find the smallest thing that a woman is great at or good at and use that as the rubric to say, this is why this person's great. Or we give them more understanding, more grace, why it's okay for them to be slow in some areas or working on some areas, but they're still great. We see that potential. We don't even acknowledge the potential. We just see it, the possibility, and we call it great. You're doing this, that's great. Back to school, that's great. We don't look at any further detail like that, but men get the scrutiny. And men get the scrutiny because men often scrutinize each other. We create our structures, we create a hierarchical structure and say, this is what makes you less of a man or not as good as a man as this other person. Men understand that. And then when the great man gets the great outcomes, men kind of be like, I get it. I get it. I may not be happy with it. I may want what he wants, but I get it. On some terms, I get it. Now, that's not to say that there's a large subset of men, especially young men, who simply don't have time or care or the wherewithal to get it out the mud. They want what they want. They want it now. They want it yesterday. Wanted that scat pack, wide body. These are people that you can't do anything with, right? You got to set that aside and move aside, right? Separate and elevate. That's going to be a new thing on the channel. If you agree, and you see some videos down here you want to check out, let me know, right? Check it out. Say you saw this and you jump to another video, so we know the algorithm is working in our favor. Besides that, I'll see you guys in the next one.